Sometimes you look at your past and feel embarrassed by how deeply you cared for people who could not hold your heart gently. You replay moments where you accepted less than you deserved simply because you were afraid of losing connection. But you were never asking for too much. You were simply asking the wrong people to understand you at the depth you needed. And that realization changes everything. Because once you understand your value, you stop begging for love that requires you to abandon yourself in order to receive it. The truth is, your sensitivity was never a weakness. Your deep emotions were never something to be ashamed of. The way you notice small changes in energy, the way certain words linger inside you for days, the way you feel everything so intensely, these are not flaws. They are evidence that your heart is still alive in a world that often rewards numbness. And yes, feeling deeply can be painful, but it is also beautiful, because one day, the same heart that has known sorrow so intimately will also experience joy in ways others cannot even comprehend. Right now, you may feel like your life is between chapters, like something is ending, but nothing new has fully arrived yet. That space can feel terrifying, empty, uncertain, but do not mistake emptiness for meaninglessness. Some seasons are meant for blooming, others are meant for becoming. And becoming often happens in quiet places where nothing seems clear yet. You are being prepared in ways you cannot fully see. Your spirit is learning how to stand without depending on external validation. Your heart is learning how to choose peace over chaos. Your mind is learning that not every thought deserves your trust. You have already survived days you once thought would destroy you. Think about that. There was a version of you in the past who truly believed they would never make it through certain moments. Yet here you are, breathing, growing, still searching for meaning, still hoping, even if only quietly. There are moments in your life that do not arrive with noise. They do not shake the ground beneath you or announce themselves with certainty. They arrive quietly, softly, almost unnoticed. And somehow, this feels like one of those moments. Because something inside you paused when you found these words. Something inside you needed this. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now, maybe you've been carrying a weight that nobody truly sees. Smiling when you're supposed to smile. Answering questions with, "I'm fine," because it feels easier than explaining the storm inside your chest. And little by little, you started wondering if anyone could really understand the exhaustion of pretending to be okay while your soul quietly begs for rest. But this message did not reach you by accident. Life has a strange way of placing certain things in front of us exactly when our hearts are ready to hear them. Even when we think we are lost, even when we think nothing is changing, something deeper is always moving beneath the surface. You've spent so much time trying to survive that you forgot what it feels like to simply breathe, to exist without fear constantly whispering in the back of your mind, to wake up without immediately feeling the pressure of becoming someone stronger, better, more healed, more acceptable. And maybe that is why you feel so tired lately. Not because you are weak, but because you have been fighting battles within yourself for far too long. Quiet battles, invisible ones, the kind nobody applauds you for, the kind that slowly shape you in silence while the world keeps moving as if nothing happened. Yet despite everything, you are still here. And that matters more than you realize. There were nights when your mind would not let you rest. Nights when every mistake replayed itself over and over again. Every regret, every disappointment, every moment you wished had gone differently. You try to outrun those thoughts, distract yourself from them, hide from them. But pain, the life you are building, does not need to look impressive to everyone else. It only needs to feel true to you. That is what matters. Peace is more valuable than performance. Inner alignment is more valuable than external validation. And one day, you will realize how much of your suffering came from trying to become someone acceptable instead of becoming someone authentic. Because authenticity is not always glamorous. Sometimes it means disappointing people. Sometimes it means changing direction after realizing your old path no longer feels alive inside you. Sometimes it means sitting alone with yourself long enough to hear what your spirit has been trying to say beneath all the noise. You're allowed to outgrow the identities built from pain. You are allowed to release the version of yourself that believed love must be earned through suffering. You are allowed to stop carrying guilt for choosing your own well-being. There is a difference between selfishness and self-respect. One abandons others. The other stops abandoning yourself. And perhaps that is the lesson your heart is slowly learning now. The universe has a strange way of removing things that no longer align with who you are becoming. At first, it feels cruel. Relationships end. Plans fail. Doors close unexpectedly. And the human mind immediately assumes loss means punishment. But sometimes removal is protection. Sometimes life clears certain paths because your soul would never fully bloom there. And even though it hurts to release what feels familiar, familiarity is not always safety. You know this now. Deep down, you've always known it. There is wisdom growing inside your pain. Not because suffering itself is beautiful, but because awareness is born through experience. The heartbreak taught you discernment. The loneliness taught you self-reliance. The uncertainty taught you patience. And the moments where everything seemed to fall apart taught you that your spirit is far more resilient than your fear. There will come a moment in your life when you suddenly realize that the person you were trying so hard to become was never the person your soul truly needed. And when that realization arrives, it feels both painful and freeing at the same time. Painful because you begin to see how much energy you spent chasing approval, chasing certainty, chasing versions of happiness that never fully reached your heart. But freeing because for the first time in a long time, you stop running from yourself. You stop treating your own spirit like a problem that constantly needs fixing. And instead, you begin listening to it. Quietly, honestly, without fear. For so long, you believed healing meant becoming untouched by pain. You thought growth would eventually remove every insecurity, every fear, every ache inside you. But life does not transform us by erasing our wounds. It transforms us by teaching us how to hold them differently. There are certain experiences that will always leave a mark on your heart. Certain losses that change the way you see the world forever. Certain disappointments that taught you painful truths about people, love, and even yourself. But scars are not signs that life defeated you. They are proof that you continued living despite everything that tried to break you. Maybe lately you have felt disconnected from yourself, like the world keeps asking you to move faster while your soul quietly asks for stillness. And that tension inside you has become exhausting. One part of you wants to keep pushing forward because you are afraid of falling behind. Another part of you is simply tired of pretending, tired of overthinking every decision, tired of carrying emotions you never fully allowed yourself to process. You have been surviving on emotional autopilot for longer than you realize. And eventually, the soul begins asking for attention in subtle ways. Through burnout, through sadness that arrives without explanation, through the feeling that something